This podcast is brought to you by Fanbase, the ultimate platform for sports teams looking to enhance fan engagement and streamline operations. With Fanbase, you can effortlessly manage memberships, sell tickets, and run your own team store, all while building a vibrant community around your club. Whether you're minor league, major league, or just a local club, Fanbase helps you connect with your fans like never before. Visit fanbaseclub.com today to learn how you can take your fan experience to the next level.
John, you good?
I'm good. Let's roll, baby.
Hi guys, our guest today is Dan Carl, DKCU Academy Director and coach of our all-conquering women's team. As you heard in that ident, we are sponsored with Fanbase for this season, so please check them out if you fancy a super helpful ticketing partner. And one word of caution, there is no John on this episode. Sorry. Now, on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
First off, welcome. Thank you, Dan. Secondly, first, I guess, congratulations on all the successes we've had with the ladies' team over the last couple of years. Is there anything that you think is a particular reason? Is there one standout factor? You're never going to name a player, right? But have you got outstanding players, or is it just a work ethic, or what's the reason behind it? Do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors actually. I think that we do have good players. We've got high quality players. We've been fortunate to, since year one, get a good core group, and a lot of that core group stuck together, enjoyed their experience and enjoyed the environment and whatnot, and came back. So that makes it a lot easier to start with a solid core. We focus a lot. We don't focus so much in the summer about changing their game. We focus on building chemistry within the group. So we really try to create a positive environment. A lot of it's led by the leaders of the team, the girls. And I think that's honestly been a huge part of our success, is just building a really good environment, really competitive environment, but high chemistry, and kind of rely on the girls to do a lot of that. So we're kind of in the side, just kind of guiding it and pulling the strings here and there. And quite honestly, a lot of the credit goes to the ladies. So it's just a good culture. So
yeah, it's more making a happy place to be, rather than making a defender slightly better at kicking someone.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these women are playing in high pressure environments in college, and so they're, I know what that's like, having daughters and stuff that played in it as well. So I kind of know it from an inside perspective a little bit. And so it's nonstop. It's a business. There's a lot of high pressure. So if we can relieve a little bit of that and let them just kind of come out and play and express themselves, and not get so uptight about, some of the stuff that they get involved with in college, and just create that positive environment, we just let them go. And it's worked. So
is it fair to say that it is less high pressure because it's not because it's a summer season, but it's just the DeKalb league thing, less high pressure than the college?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that a deliberate choice from your side, or just the nature of it's not college?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think when they go and play with their schools, there's a lot of pressure. A lot of them are on scholarship. It's cutthroat in terms of starting and minutes and all that stuff. Everyone wants that, and we don't have so much of that pressure, of course. The league that we play in isn't a hugely intense league where they're traveling over the Midwest or traveling all over the country, of course, and stuff like that. So quite honestly, a lot of them like to be able to take a couple steps back in terms of that. all the logistics that go with the soccer part and just play. And so I think with that, it allows them to relax a little bit and express themselves, and it's been good.
Well, the results speak for themselves, right? Like, clearly something works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
A little bit about you then. Like, how would you describe your coaching style? You alluded to, like, for the DeKalb thing of just like let them be and let the players play, right? But how are you? Just describe yourself as on a Tuesday night or on a Saturday night. How are you?
Yeah, I don't think I change a lot, quite honestly. And that my family would probably say the same. I mean, I can be pretty intense in pretty much everything I do. I am a pretty intense coach. I get into it. And if I expect the players to put in the effort and the work and the focus and whatnot, I do the same. So I would definitely say my personality suits it. As far as tactics and X's and O's, I really like the game, and I pride my teams in being very heavily in possession. When we have ball, high press, get the ball back as fast as possible. When we don't have the ball, high work rate, very organized, things like that. So the details of the game are one thing, but I think, yeah, I think just enjoy the environment, and I'm kind of like that 24/7. So it's good or bad.
What's my train of thought? What was I wanted to ask you? Oh yeah. So how easy is it to get not the scouting reports is the next level up, right? But like, do you coach with the intention of the next opposition, or is it just coaching as to your point of like to make everyone happier?
Yeah, I think in the summer with the summer program, where it is a little bit laid. I don't want to say laid back. Like we don't put a lot of focus and effort and forethought into our opponent and whatnot. We do, of course, uh, have gone out and watched and scouted other teams ahead of state cup games and things like that for sure. Like that's all part of the coaching process and all that. But at the same time, we put a lot of focus in our group, and we have a lot of confidence in our group. And so we prepare, we create a good environment where we think that that they're ready to play the next game. And honestly, we've had that great core of quality that's been really good. And so I don't want to say that we definitely don't overlook our opponents and opposition, but we prepare, and we're pretty confident to take on whoever we need to.
Yeah, I guess with a great respect to all the teams at this level, right? There's not a huge amount of variety.
Sure.
Really, yeah, like it's yeah. So if you're good enough, you're good enough. It doesn't matter whether they're 3-5-2 or 4-4-2 or 4. All right. The other hat you wear from the DeKalb point of view, obviously, is director of the academy, for which again we thank you. How have you found that relationship? Because it's only been part of the club for 3 or 4 years now. So on a personal level, how have you found that? And what is your vision for how the Big Daddy Club can help the academy be better and more successful within the community?
Yeah, well, I think what's nice is that now with the youth side of it going underneath the DKCU umbrella, if you will, it creates that clear pathway, right, for players. And so we now have players that have a clear path to shoot for. It's right in the backyard. It's all connected together. We push between the two groups, the youth side and the adult side. We push, we try to connect all the players to come watch games and back and forth and this and that. For me, like I coach our older girls teams in the academy, and so it's an obvious path into the adult side. Coach PJ also coaches in the academy, and obviously is the men's director of soccer for DKCU. So there's that continuity between the academy and the adult side. So for me, in an area that is really strong with soccer, we've created a platform for our youth players to be able to see a path here locally where they don't have to travel around or worry about going out of school or whatnot, and they've got a really good platform to shoot for.
For sure. Do you see, with your foot in both camps, are you, because you said earlier, like the ladies team had a good nucleus for 3-4 years. Obviously, some of those are transitioning out now. The American thing, like grown-ups just refuse to play semi-professional soccer, as far as that. It's very strange. But yeah. If we take that, then do you see the next crop coming through now? Or do you have them in your eyes, like she's going to be straight in?
Yeah, we definitely have players that fit the mold for sure. From a passion standpoint, from a work rate standpoint, the interest beyond high school, that's there with a lot of our older girls. And I'm talking to a lot of those girls and families right now about college and whatnot. And then the next conversations very soon are, what are you doing in the summer, right? So, yeah, I think we have players on both the boys and girls side that are of the quality that we look for in the adult side. So we have players that are local, homegrown, that are on the men's side as well right now. So yeah, it's been positive, and I only hope to be a part of growing that in the future.
Long may it continue, right? How hard is the transition from youth to college soccer or DeKalb level soccer, whichever way you want to put it?
Yeah, well, I think for college soccer, it's tricky for sure. It's different men's and women's for sure. But I think all players get to the level if they choose to push that level. Like that becomes a choice at some point, right? At some point they figure out that they want to go to the big school and not play soccer, or they want to maybe go to a school that may not be as big and socially as fun or whatever, what have you, and they want to focus on soccer. So I think that most of our players get to the point where they can play at some level in soccer, on the college level. And I think that a lot of our players, for the same reasons, have the chance to compete and do well in tryouts for the summer club. So, yeah, I think we prepare them pretty well. Again, the continuity of coaches between both the youth and the adult platform helps in terms of playing style and what we're looking for in a player. So I think that we can kind of guide a lot of those players from a younger age to try to get them prepared for the level in the summer and for sure in college as well.
Yeah. So is it more as much mentality as physicality for that transition stage, right? Like being the big fish at high school is one thing, right? But like to take that ability, the potential to the next level is to use the bit that hasn't been tapped before.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely as much mentality. I think, it's a tough grind, right? Mentally and physically. I mean, when you sign up to, or when you get recruited to be a college player, it dominates a big part of your life, and you forfeit a little bit of that quote unquote normal college experience. And so being mentally prepared for that part of it is the thing. I always talk to players about, when you choose a sport, to go play in college and whatnot, you've got to make sure that you can picture yourself at that college not playing there, right? So if you get injured or something like that, like there's a lot of factors that go into choosing the next level. So it becomes tricky, and there's definitely a mental aspect to it. Of course, the athletic and the physical aspect to it, which often dictates what level, college soccer you play at. But the mental aspect is definitely probably one of the biggest things, and one of the things on the youth side that we try to prepare our players for. So we like to think that a lot of our coaches do a lot more than just teaching them how to play soccer. We try to make them better people, and try to get them exposed to some of the adversity and whatnot that they're gonna face as they go off on their own in college. So, yeah, try to make well-rounded players in the academy side, and we hope that translates into at post high school.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it should, right? Like if good people are putting good things in, then good stuff should come out. That's
Yep.
I'm sure of it. All right, let's talk about you, Dan, because I know that's your happy place when this is on you. What's your story? How did you end up doing what you're doing?
Yeah, so I've been part of the soccer scene in DeKalb County for more than 2 decades. Started, of course, with my young kids in AYSO, and I played soccer in the area in high school. I went to Kishwaukee College, played soccer. Um, Finished up at NIU. Did not play soccer. Had the opportunity, but decided not to play soccer um, as a walk on. And so, anyways, got up to AYSO soccer with my kids, and then that quickly changed into a club option. There were uh, two clubs that were kind of prevalent in the area way back when, and I latched on with one. Happened to be the same one that our El Presidente John Hall was part of as well, and Jenny and many others in the area still. But yeah, so it started kind of coaching a little bit in that club. That quickly became NIFC, Northern Illinois FC, which was kind of the big club for a long time out here. And I ended up running that for um, 15 plus years. So I've been in the club soccer scene for a long time. Of course, a few years ago that NIFC and KBSC, two smaller clubs here in the area that are kind of competing over a small number of kids. Quite honestly, it didn't totally make sense. So we got together and then met with John and decided to form the academy. So um, I'm passionate about developing players. It's what makes me happy. And a lot of people many people ask over the years, how do I keep doing it for so long? And it's not always, it's not all, if it was always just coaching on the sidelines or developing players and training and whatnot, that'd be fantastic. There's obviously a lot of admin and other stuff that goes along with it. And people often ask, how do you do it? And in the end, it's the joy for me is seeing players develop and grow over the course of time. We're in an area out here in DeKalb County where we're not so pressured by 50 other clubs around us within 2 miles of each other, like a lot of the suburbs. So we often talk about and brag about how because of where we're located, we're able to take our time and really develop the players without the pressure of having to win a trophy every season necessarily. Although we like to win at the youth side, but at the same time we don't worry that Jimmy or Susie's going to be grabbed and taken to the club down the road because we didn't win that game. So we develop players. That's what I love to do. I do my best at it, and that's why I've stuck with it so long. And a few years ago, I was fortunate enough to be the first coach on the women's team for DKCU, and here I am. So it's I have another full-time job, but this is definitely a full-time job, and I'm super passionate about it. And I enjoy it. I don't know how much longer I'll do it, but well, it brings me a lot of happiness. So I still love it. I'm still challenged by it. So yeah.
That's the important thing, right? Isn't it? Like, and it's just about like you've got a semi-grown family as well because the time commitment you have to put into it. So huge. So, would you then that there's a dog there? Would you say then that No, let me ask you a different question. Was the moment that you became the women's coach at DeKalb like the first time you specialized gender-wise, or was it always in plan to go to coach women's rather than men's, or did you have previous experience, or what?
Yeah, for the adult side,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I do remember early on asking John and the others to be involved in some form. At that time, it was just a men's team, and to help out in any way and kind of get on board. I saw what they were doing from the get go, and it was exciting for sure. And again, being part of the soccer scene for so long here, I wanted to be part of it. At that time, early on in DKCU, when they were still trying to sort out, their structure or whatnot, being the club guy in town, the youth club guy in town, I think, they just kind of took its time and all that. So a year or two later, when they just decided to move forward and what they always wanted to have a women's team, I think from the beginning, but when they finally launched it, was my opportunity. So, I've coached, all of our older high school teams in the club, boys and girls, a lot of younger teams as well. But I have a lot of experience coaching the varsity level, if you will, of club soccer. John's aware of that, and he gave me the opportunity. So I was grateful for that for sure. It's been fantastic. I also have a couple daughters that grew up in club and played for DKCU. Two of them that have gone through the program, so that probably helped a little bit. Um, and now I do coach. I coach the men's reserve team on the men's side as well, the U23. Well, I did that starting this last summer.
Yeah. Like we said off camera, like, you are not a Netflix and chill guy, are you? Like, if you're sitting down, then there's something that needs to be done somewhere. Yeah. And you could not be more different, Dan. What's your, I don't like to linger on the negative for too long, but do you have any major regrets from coaching time of opportunities that slipped through your finger? Not necessarily career-wise, just like that game or that trophy or that player or even?
Yeah, I'm sure there's numerous of them, numerous times over the years. Been in a lot of big competitions, taken a lot of teams to on long runs and cup runs and stuff like that. In youth soccer, all over the Midwest. Some big games and all that slipped away for sure. The amateur cup game this past summer with the women, as bright of a summer season as it was for us. It was fantastic, of course. We didn't get the result in the amateur cup that, of course, we hosted. That was a big priority for us. We lost 1-0 in overtime, which probably was a big driving factor to kind of push through the rest of the summer and pretty much take care of much of our competition the rest of the way. I think it kind of drove a lot of the women. But yeah, I mean, I think career-wise as well, I've had some opportunities to do some other things in soccer for sure over the years. And the way I'm wired and as passionate as I am about coaching and the game, I suppose there's always a little bit of regret from that standpoint. Thinking, trying to see if I could, reach some new goals in terms of coaching and stuff like that. But I love what I do. I love the academy. I love coaching youth soccer. I love the DKCU summer women's and men's teams that I'm able to be part of. So no regrets overall on that.
Sliding doors, isn't it? Like, whatever, yeah, Darius Rucker, whatever stoplight I didn't make, that's for sure. All right, and then highlights. Then what are you most proud of in the 2 decades that you've been doing it?
Whew. Yeah, I think, for years and years, I'll go back to the joy I get in watching players develop. Literally watching kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old when they first start, and then watching them graduate high school, and becoming the players, and more importantly, becoming the person they are. I try to help a lot in terms of leadership qualities and try to bring out some of that stuff. So I like to think that I try to help in that way. So seeing that person, those players become well-rounded people as well as good soccer players is fantastic. Going and watching them play in big college games, right? When they've made it on the platform, I've had a lot of players make it in high-level college soccer. And, there were years and years and years where our graduation rate for players that graduated and went and played college soccer was 95%, which is fantastic, especially in our area. And, it's dipped a little bit. And so that's kind of a priority in the academy, is to get that back on track. So, those are the highlights for me, is watching players develop, watching people develop. I've had my own kids in the pub and in the game that I've watched growing up in that way. All 4 of them were really good soccer players and fun to be around. But I put as much pride and emphasis on I try to on all the players that I can be with. So
Can't have favorites, right then?
well,
Yeah. Can you attribute that drop in the graduation rate to anything? Or, like, if you say it's a priority to fix it or try to fix it, what are you going to do?
yeah, I don't know what the dip is for really. I think we just had a lull where I'm talking really a couple years where maybe 50%, 60% of the players Some of them were not going to college right away and things like that. So, um, yeah, but the goal is to make sure that we communicate it. We give them the resources. We've got a lot of resources. We're connected uh, with, with NIU. Uh, we've got some coaches that are on our academy staff. And so we've got really good resources. Coach Luzzy, is a fantastic resource. We've seen it all and done it all and whatnot. So, we've got a lot of good resources in terms of the pathway to college, and we want to make sure that we educate our players better, um, and so that they know that it's not such a wall that they have to climb over. I think people that maybe don't have the full support at home, or maybe don't do great in school or whatever, they kind of get stopped by it, and they kind of get deterred by taking that next step. And we want to help educate them to make sure we show them the right, the pathway that they can play. So, if they want to. And, for me, if they can continue to do that, for 2 years or 4 years or whatever, I think they do, and they can, because you don't get those years back. And I think it teaches a lot more than just soccer. There's the organization, structure, and discipline part of it that's fantastic as well. So,
Yeah. Soccer is life, as said. Yeah. All right. What's the future for you and for the ladies and for the academy?
yeah. For the academy, we're at 2.5 years in now, with the clubs combined to form the academy. So we're kind of still getting through. To be honest with you, we're still getting through the growth part of it. There was a decent amount of growth when we combined, and with that comes challenges and resources and all that. And so we've gotten through a lot of that. It's not perfect, and we'll always continue to learn and grow and take feedback and whatnot. But now it's to ratchet it up a level. And so we're in constant communication about ways to, um, of course, to improve the day in, day out stuff, but also big picture stuff, in terms of facilities, in terms of level of play, in terms of competition, in terms of tournament, quality and stuff like that. Like we recognize that we've got such a large membership that wants to play, wants to learn, and puts a lot of trust in us. And so now that we're kind of starting to get some of our ducks in a row in terms of the growth that came with the academy, now we're trying to plan out kind of the next big step. So, with the academy side, we're definitely looking to ratchet up uh, our club a little bit, and push our kids into the next level. With women, you kind of mentioned this earlier. There's definitely going to be some turnover. We've been fortunate to have a great core that is aging out a little bit, or figuring out that they're going to move and relocate and get their big girl job and stuff like that, and start their lives. So, we have tryouts coming up here in December, for both the men and women. So we start that process here pretty soon to identify that and get it going. There's always a conversation about what platform level we want to play at in the summer. What do the girls want? What do the women want as far as their summer competition to get them ready for college? So, we'll have some conversations about what we can add in terms of competition to enhance the program and help the players. So we're kind of, these months here, November, December, there's a lot of planning going on for both the academy and the adult side, to kind of get ready for what's coming up. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think the academy has a lot going on, a lot to be excited about. And the men's and women's program, I mean, we're building off, the women are building off some great success. And, I'm trying not to alternate every year to win cup titles. I want to win them every year. So, that becomes the immediate focus, for this summer.
It's them damn Rockford types, isn't it? That's the problem.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's we're winding down, but it must be kind of hard, because there's enough quality players, but it feels like there aren't enough quality clubs. Is that a fair assessment? Like we've had clubs and teams cancel on us and not still safe fixtures, and it's not because of the players a lot of the time. It's because of the admin, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we've seen that. I saw that more so on the men's side this summer with the reserve team. We had 2 or 3 clubs that didn't show up for games or what have you, and we'd have a couple players show up and be surprised that the rest of their team wasn't coming and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that probably is a good time to mention how fortunate we are in this area to have DKCU and the way that they run it. I mean, it's an experience that's not like the other clubs that we play with. And that goes a long way. That's not overlooked. So that's a huge selling point. I think the platforms that we play at and the coaching level and the resources we have in terms of fields and all that stuff is fantastic. But the way it's run and organized and the communication, it's like no other club in the summer that we come up against. That makes it fun for sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit special, isn't it? I think it is, and that's a lovely place to leave it.